So today I'm going to create a web application using React.js. So React.js is a library that allows you to build front-end applications using a component architecture. So what I mean with components is that you basically model your front-end sections as components. So let's see a quick example of what I mean. So let's suppose that you have a shopping application. So you can have a header, then you're going to have I don't know, a sidebar over there. So sidebar, and then here you have your cart, and then all the products. Here you have some fancy banner, I don't know, something uh, particularly useful for the search that the user made. And here you have products. All of these are products. So this is product 1, product 2, and you get the idea. So all of these are components. All of these are all components. Each and every one of them has its own logic, makes its own HTTP calls, and has its own rules about possibly colors or text size, background color. And it's important that each and every component has its own meaning. That's how you can split efficiently between what is a component on its own and what is part of another component. So of course you can have hierarchies of components. For example, all of these might be products. So one single component that allows you to just insert into the page, as we will see later on, a single tag, and that tag is going to basically unfold all of these products. And we will be doing exactly this in a moment. So let's create a simple React application. This is going to take a while the first time that you run it, so I'm probably going to speed through this. So it's finally finished, and as you can see, we can follow the suggestion here, and we can go into the React application by changing directory, and then we can npm start. So it will start a small development server, which will in turn allow us to see this. So this is the application that we're going to be modifying in this introduction about React.js. So let me put them side by side. Okay. So we're going to make some space, and then we're going to fire up Emacs there. All JavaScript and all sources basically are in this folder here, sources, while we'll see what's in public in a bit. So let's start from index.js. Okay. So this is the entry point of the application. I'm importing a couple of libraries just to be sure, just to make use of them, so that we can create the root application, hooking that into a element called into an element that has root as ID. And then I'm going to import a component called app, which resides in the same folder as the current application. So we can have a look at that. And this is our first, well, the second component, let's say. So what's a component in React.js? A component is a function that has some functionality inside of it. So you can perform HTTP calls, make some calculations, all that stuff. It can happen inside the function. It's a regular JavaScript function, allowing you to have HTML tags inside of the JavaScript function, and also, as we will see, we can reference variables in this way. So it's kind of a template. Okay, as I was saying, let's see what we have in public. So in public we have, well, usual stuff, but HTML. Yeah, this is the HTML, and we see that we have our ID root here, which, as I said before, is the element that we hook into when we want to say, hey, React, just put all the application in that element. So that's what's going to happen. So what are we going to do is make an HTTP call to a fake API and show the results in this page here. So there is this nice product that is called fakestoreapi.com that allows you to see, well, a fake API. So we can have, for example, products, and you can have a card, users, login. It's really useful when you need to quickly create something. So we're going to use products, and this is it. So how do you perform HTTP calls inside of React? Well, you make use of the useEffect, and I'm going to link everything into the description of the video. So always reference to the official React.js guide. It's awesome, and you can learn a lot basically from just the docs. Just browsing the docs here, you can learn a lot. So we're going to use useEffect, which is basically a hook in React.js lingo that allows you to perform side effects. So, for example, making HTTP calls, and we're going to do just that. So let's copy paste this bit here, because later on we're going to also use state possibly. So let's copy paste that there. Okay, now let's clean up a bit. So I don't want to see the logo anymore. I don't want to see logo. I don't want this, and I don't want that. And as you can see, this one replaces the application without the need to manually refresh. So now we're going to perform an HTTP call towards that fakestoreapi.com website that I showed you before. So we're going to use the useEffects hook. So let's do that. Use effect accepts a function, and in this function here we're going to be doing a HTTP call, and an HTTP call is performed using fetch. So usually let's use fetch. So we're going to wrap that into a function. Call, and then we're going to call it here. This is really a quick tour of React. I'm not going to explain everything that I write, just because, again, I want to keep this short. So we're going to fetch that URL, and this is going to be our response, and that's an await, because we're going to, that's asynchronous. Then we want our JSON, so we do this, so we can await for our JSON, and let's log it. Let's see how well we are doing until here. Log it below. So yeah, so as you can see, it's already doing the HTTP call, and here I have the call. So as soon as the component has been attached to the page, you can see that it's making the call. Okay. So I'm not going to explain why we have two. Again, this is just quick walkthrough. So this component is called app. I would really want this code in here. Well, no. So let's create a new component in there, and we're going to call it and we're going to take all of these basically, and we're going to put it in here. As you can see, I also need to export it so that I can use it later on, and we can call this products. So this is going to be, you guessed it, products. And in here I can call, so I can remove this, and I can call products from here. But first I need to import it. So import product from products. If I now save, yeah, I still see the HTTP calls. So which means that we're doing okay. The functionality did not change. We just introduced a new component, and as I said before, we have a component that contains another component. This is perfectly fine. You can have hierarchies of components. Okay. Now. So this is, let's have a div inside of it, and let's have products. Okay. Nice. So that's where our components are going to appear. So how do we make use of this JSON here? Because we're logging it, but we don't really make any use of it. So you can't really reference JSON from there to here. You have to go through another hook, which is use state, and that's what we're going to use. So use state allows you to create a state for this component. You can have multiple states, for example, handling different kinds of data. So we're going to do, this is going to be products, and then set products. And what this means is that by giving you state a default, which is the empty array, we get back the state and the way to modify it. So always change the state via the set product. So this is basically the thing, and this is the way you modify the thing. So I'm going to modify the thing, the products, shades. Okay. Now I shouldn't be seeing any refreshes, any logs anymore. Cool. So let's see. We can have a span here that tells us, how many products are there. So we can have products dot length. Yeah, as you can see, there are 20. Okay, and we're going to loop over them. So since we're returning HTML here, the map function of arrays tends to be pretty useful. So let's see what map is. Just if you don't know it, basically map is a way to transform data. So imagine that you have an array like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you want to double every element of the array. Of course, you could do a for loop and then create a new array, and then in the new array you're going to push the double element. Okay, but you can do it in a more declarative way, which is this. Well, not that, but this. You can have map, which accepts a function. So it's a higher order function. Map is a higher order function, meaning that accepts another function. And that function gives you the nth element. So this is going to be n is going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as value. And then we're going to double it. And as you can see, it returns an array that has the requirement. So in this case, we're going to use map on our products. Then we're going to map, and this is a function, as we said before. Let's call it p as product. And we're going to return, I don't know, maybe let's start easy. So what do we have inside a product? So we have title. So yeah, that was me being silly. So, and we're going to have p dot title. Of course, here we just need a in React you need to have a single element at the root of your component. So let's do that. Yeah. Okay. And here we have our titles. So yeah, to recap, you need a single element to be the parent of your component, and then inside you can have all your structure of other components or HTML. And let's make this a bit prettier. So I want to have a single component, and I want to probably code that as another component itself. So we can do that. So we can have another component. Okay. So this is the product component. And one thing I didn't mention before is that components communicate with the exterior via props. So props are a way to configure your component. How are we going to configure this product component? As we already do in HTML, by passing attributes to it. So let's change this to be a product, which is a tag. And this product here is going to have a title, which is going to be p.title. So the product title, and then let's say an image, and then an image. p.image. Yeah, so we need to import our product. Import product from product. Okay, that's really not going to work, but it will in a moment. So this is product, and we're going to export default product. As you can see, it's not doing anything because we're not really returning anything from here, because we are adding a new component, but the new component is not returning HTML. So let's return HTML. So we can do that, and we can say that this might be again a div, and inside this div we're going to show, yeah, it's going to look really ugly, but I don't really care about that right now. So we're going to have span, and that's going to have props dot title, and then we have the title, and also we can do image g.src, and this is going to be props dot image. and we have really large images. At this point, you can style it. You can put everything in nice squares using Flexbox, but I don't really care about that. I just wanted to show you how you can quickly create something using React. So if you want to know more about React, I suggest you to go to the React.js website. It's awesome. It's really easy to learn React just by reading and copy pasting or rewriting whatever they write in these boxes, and you can start creating applications in no time. Um, just make sure to really grasp the concept of hooks, but everything it's explained in detail here. So from the main concept, from the what are the components, why use them. I've always used the function syntax just because it's way easier than the class syntax. And then once you're done with that, that's lots of material that you can use to expand your knowledge. So I hope this was useful.